Okay, so um, today we're going to talk about external services with Salesforce and how we're going to do the integrations without code or like low code or almost none code. My name is Amol Dikshit, and this is my information. This is my email. This is my LinkedIn. So we're gonna do this introduction session later, but I think I'm gonna just skip it so we can do this after our event. This is the forward-looking statement wherein it just says that you're gonna make purchase decisions based on the product and features available in the market. So welcome to Stanford Developer Group. Yeah, so people who are new, people who have already been coming, welcome you guys, and thank you so much for joining today. And this is my information. This is Amol Dikshit. I'm a Salesforce technical architect and senior developer. Also, I run this community group. And also, I've been part of Top Coder Coterie board member as well. I have a few certifications. And this is my LinkedIn. If you want to join, feel free to join here. Thank you so much. So, okay, so let's start with our session today. So, what are the key takeaways today, right? First is like we're going to learn what are the external services, right? And what are the basic usage. We're going to understand how the external services work and what is the exact necessity and how it's going to be useful for me. And after that, we're going to see a small demo about it. So yeah, let's start. So do you see this baby? I think you see this baby every time whenever we have sessions. So it says that bye-bye Apex, because how many of you are doing integrations with Salesforce? How many developers? How many administrators? Sometimes it's hectic, right? I mean, in order to do some integration, first of all, get the API, write the Apex code, then handle the response requests, then error handling, everything, right? I mean, it's a lot of work because you have to invest developers' time for at least a couple days, right? But with the help of Salesforce integration services or external services, we can do everything with not even a single line of code. Everything can be done just with the point and click. Isn't that amazing, right? I mean, consider like if somebody tells you, oh man, I have this integration, or like I have this system, I want to connect it to Salesforce. How can I do that, right? And you're going to say, oh wait, let me call my developer, let me get the estimates, all those stuff, right? So instead of that, if you are an admin and you know a few things, or you know how to click a button, or you know how to do the point and click, and you know how laptop works, that's it, you're good. You can just go ahead and you just need to know small things like how to integrate this. And once you know this, trust me, it's so easy. You can literally go ahead and do any kinds of integrations. So let's go ahead. Okay, so this is the overall picture of the external services, right? So consider like I have some public APIs. I have Salesforce APIs, right? Proprietary APIs, or like any n number of APIs I can have. And somebody asked me to integrate this to my Salesforce. How can I do that? So if you see there are some certain aspects here. The first aspect is like open API specification, which is very, very important, because consider like if I have like thousands of systems in the world and I want to connect them to Salesforce, right? So in order to do that, I need to have one common language, right? I mean, how do we communicate with each other? Consider we are in the United States, right? So if you have people around us, we need to have one common language which everybody can speak and everybody would understand, right? So the way we are speaking English, the way we talk English, similarly, we have open API specification. So this specification is very, very common to all. So this way, our Salesforce knows that, okay, this is the language, this is the specification, this is the format of specification, which I can use to integrate my external APIs, because every system might have their own API specification. Their format could be different, or some APIs would provide you only XML, some APIs would provide you or like flexibility with JSON or whatever format, whatever we are talking about. But here what we're talking about is we need to have an open API specification, which is common across all the systems. So all the systems has to follow this, and it's very easy to convert your existing API to open API. And the very important and nice feature about open API is it's human readable plus machine readable as well. So it's very easy to make adjustments to it, and you can easily just take your JSON like request and response or whatever request you have, and you can literally convert it to open API specification. And what's going to happen is, like, once we know the open API specification, our external services knows, okay, this is the format I should expect, and I'm gonna use this format to create some actions in Salesforce. So those actions can be called from flows, and those flows will interact with external services or external integrations without any issues. You don't have to write any code. So let's take a look ahead with any other system. This external service is going to help you a lot. So if you see my screen, so there are some basic things which we need to have. First one is, like, you see on my screen, consider like I have like n number of public APIs available, or n number of third-party systems, like I have like AWS, Slack, I have MuleSoft, or any other APIs. So if you want them to integrate to Salesforce, we need to have one very common important thing, which is like open API specification. So that's the common language which Salesforce external services and all other APIs will speak. Because, like, if you want to have Salesforce integration services to talk to other search systems, you should definitely have one common thing, and that common thing is open API specification. So consider, like, I can have n number of systems. Some systems supports only JSON. Some systems supports XML. So what we're going to do is, like, with this open API specification, you can convert your existing API spec to open API spec, and it's very easy. And other thing is, very important thing about open API spec is it's human readable and it's machine readable as well. So you can easily make adjustments to it, so you don't have to do any other, if you're just looking at the API, then you can literally look at it. Okay, consider if it is like successful, what's going to happen? If it's failure, what's going to happen? And this is the basic overall picture. So we're going to see the basic building blocks now. So here there are certain building blocks which we need to see, or which we should be aware of. First one is like external services. Other one is like open API specification. Third one is invocable actions, flow builder, and flow. Have you guys heard of flow, like Salesforce flows? So it's like almost equal to Salesforce flows. You just need to build some things, and just it's gonna create some actions in Salesforce, and it's just gonna call it through with the help of flows. So we're gonna see how it's gonna look. First one is like REST API. We need to have third-party external service REST API available, and if they have available, then we want to. So consider you are an admin, so you should ask them, oh, if you want to integrate your service to me, or if I want to do that, then please provide me open API specification. And so they should be able to provide it. Or if they can't provide it, you can just ask them to just convert whatever web service you have, just convert it. Or if you want, you can convert by yourself as well. So just convert it to open API specification. Once you do that, then next thing, we need to do some things in Salesforce. Whatever we talk, that's about external services. Now we're going to talk about Salesforce. What do I need to do? So first very important thing is we need to have configure the name credentials. So name credentials are used for the authentication purposes. And means consider, like, if you are doing integration with other system, you need to have username and password, right? Or like if they are doing like other authentication like OAuth, right? So they can be having various kind of authentication process. So that's the one thing we're gonna configure, like configure the name credentials. The next thing is, like, we need to register the external web services invocable actions available. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna see when we see the demo, I'm gonna show you like how we can do that, because once we have this external service invocable actions available, then you can see them in flow. So if you go to flow, and if you can go to the actions, then you can see that all these APIs are available, all these invocable actions are available. So once you do that, the next thing is, like, you just gotta run the flow. Because once you run the flow, then you will be able to call the Salesforce API, not Salesforce API, external services web API. It could be whatever it is, whatever APIs they have specified over there, you can literally see them. So now we're gonna see API specification. So this is how the API inputs, outputs, work. So just now we talked about Open API specification. What it is the common standards format to describe the structure, right? And as we talked about it, it is like human and machine readable. So both of them can read it. Then third one is like input outputs you can include in the calls. So consider, right, I have a third party system and which is asking me to, whenever the contact is created in third party system, I want that contact to be created in Salesforce. Whenever they do an update, I want an update to be done in Salesforce, right? Or consider like if I add a contact in Salesforce, I want that contact to be created in third party system, right? So all these specifications or all these post calls, we can do that. And also the endpoint information and authentication parameters, we can specify in the API specification. So this is how the actual API specification looks like. If you take a look at it, it's not like very complex. It's very easy. So if you can see here, like if I'm asking, like first of all, you can see /contact name. So you can see we have like multiple paths here. The path could be like to get the contact, to update the contact, to do the delete contact. But right now here we are using the get contact operation. If you see here, so this is the operation called as get contact. We're gonna give the summary. We're gonna give the description, because this description is we're gonna see it in our flow, like how this is gonna look. And then I can pass some parameters to it. So in this API, I'm just expecting you to pass me the contact name. And once you pass me the contact name, that's it. I'm gonna just, and once the API is successful, if you can see, there is a responses. So 200 means successful. That means the contact creation in third party system, that's successful. And consider if somehow the API was wrong and they were not able to do that, then it's gonna give me like 400. So this is the API specification. Usually you don't have to go through anything, because you're just gonna copy this and paste it in Salesforce. That's gonna create the actual actions for you. But this is, I just put it in the slide just to show you guys like how it's gonna look. So just now, like we talked about flows, right? So this is how it's gonna look. Consider like I have a flow and I have created the external services actions. So you just gotta go to the flow, and there is a tab called as external service. Just go there and you will see all the actions we have for external services available here. So you can see like add account, edit account, get account, delete account. And if you have like any additional actions, you're gonna see it here. And once you have this action, once you select this action, you're gonna see this. So you're just gonna pass the account name, account type. So this is what this API is accepting or expecting. And if you go here, it's gonna ask you, okay, once the contact creation or account creation is successful, what should I do? So if you see here 201 means it's successful. 401 means it got failed. 404 means there was some other exception. So these are all exception. So with this output variables, you can take your next actions. So we're gonna see that. Okay, now as we have seen a little bit about this, so we will see a short demo about this, like how this is gonna go. Let me just log into one of my let me just log into my Salesforce org. Just doing that. Okay, so we talked about name credentials. So this is the Salesforce org. So very important thing about integrating this API is, or like integrating with external services, is the name credentials. So you need this to authenticate our external service. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the setup, you're gonna search for name credentials, and let's create a new name credentials here. So I'm gonna create one new name credentials. So this credentials are gonna use it. We're gonna use it for our external service. So this is gonna be like username and password. So I'm just gonna give Stanford external service demo. And I'll just give the URL. So this is the URL for our APIs. And actually, if you see here, so there are multiple authentication parameters. You can see you can give like name principal, you can give per user, then you can have, depending on the identity type, you're gonna see the authentication protocol is gonna change. So, but for now we're gonna keep, if you see here, like we have OAuth2, then we have password authentication, JWT, whatever you're gonna use. But for our demo purpose, I'm just gonna keep it like anonymous, because this API is available without any authentication. So I'm just gonna keep it anonymous, and I'm gonna keep it like no authentication. But consider if you have a service or like third-party service which they have OAuth supported or whatever authentication protocol they have, you can just go there and set it up. And you can see there is like there are some parameters for call out options. One is like generate authorization header. If you do that, it's gonna create authorization header when you're gonna do your API call. Then there are some other parameters which you can take a look, which will allow you to have merge fields in our API. So what is the merge field? Merge fields are those wherein you can pass additional values in your headers for these external services, which we're not gonna do that. I'm just gonna see this. I'm just gonna save this this name credentials. I'm just gonna click on save. So once I do that, I have one name credentials created. So that's it. We are done with our first step, which is very important step. Now once that is done, then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead with the external services creation. So I'm just gonna go here, external services. You just need to type your external services, by the way, and just go here and just click on new external service. Let me just delete the existing ones, so this way we don't have any other things. I'm just gonna delete the existing one. Oh, this is being used. That's fine. Let me just create another one. Okay, so I'm gonna give Salesforce Dev service. So first thing, you're gonna give the name. Then here you're gonna select the name credentials which you wanna use for this external service. So I'm gonna use the Stanford external service demo, which we just created. Then here this is the one actually wherein you can either give the URL or like URL for your schema, or if you don't have schema, you can just provide the actual JSON. So this JSON will be used to create the API. So for now, I'm just gonna use this relative URL. So if you take a look at this relative URL, so let me just see here. I think, okay. So I'm gonna use this schema. If you go to this URL, you will see this is the JSON we have. So if you want, either you can just copy paste this and just put it in JSON, or if you want, you can just use the relative URL. It's up to you. For now, I'm gonna just use this because we already have configured the first part. I'm just gonna use this /account/schema. So this is the thing which you need from your third-party system. So if you want to integrate any third-party system, just ask them to give this one, and that's it. It will be available. Now I'm gonna just click on save and next. Okay, now once I clicked on save and next, if you see, I'm seeing now 4 actions. That means this OpenAPI specification is having 4 actions. It is allowing me to add an account, update an account, get account, and delete an account. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select all of them because I want all these actions to be available in my flows. And I'm just gonna click on next. And here is the summary of our external service. So this is how it's gonna look. This is my get account. It's gonna accept few parameters. One is like account name, and it's gonna give me the response. So if you see, it's gonna if it's giving me like 200, that means it was successful. If it is 404, that means it was failure. Then we had like update account, we have add account, and we have delete account. So this is just the confirmation page. Once you click on save, you can see your external service will have been added here. So let's just click here and just take a look. Okay, so this is how it looks. So here it's gonna give you a little bit idea like how my API is. So this API, add account API, it is just accepting account name and account type, and these are my output parameters. In order to get the account, I just need to pass the account name. In order to update the account, I need to pass the account type, account name. So here our key is account name. So depending on the account name, we are going to do this operation. So this is my API which I have configured, this external services. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go to the flows and I'm just gonna call this. And that is gonna do the integration for me. So right now we have these 4 actions available. I'm just gonna create one simple flow here just to show you guys how we can call this integration service. I'm gonna create one screen flow. So let's create one screen. I'm just gonna give the name as I'm just gonna get one input. Just gonna get the account tags. I'm just gonna get the account. I'm just taking like getting 2 parameters. Account name. I'm gonna get the account type maybe. Okay, I'm getting 2 variables. I don't want to see the headers, so I'm just remove that. I just clicked on save. Once this is done, so I got like 2 values, account name and account type. So here, in order to see the external services, I'm just gonna click on action and I'm gonna click on type. So if you see the type, there is one tab called as external service. I'm gonna click here. So as soon as you click here, you will see your actions are seen here. So if you see add account, the Stanford dev group just now we created, like add account, delete account. So I'm just gonna select add account for now. So which will let me add the account to external service. So I'm gonna see add account. And here I'm gonna give the account name from the previous screen. So here I'm gonna select account name. And here I'm gonna choose the account type, which I selected from the previous screen. And if you click on advanced tab here consider like once the API is successful, like once the account has been added to external services, and if you want to take any customization or if you want to do any customization or do any action, so you can assign manually all these variables. That means 201. That means it's successful. Once it is successful, you can save the value to one of the JSON or Apex defined variables or whatever. This is for the manually, if you want to do any manual action, you can use that. But if not, Salesforce saves the whatever we have in API specification, it's gonna save it anyway. But if you want to take, or if you want to store these values in different variables, you can do that. For now, I'm just gonna skip it, and I'm just gonna click on save. I'm just gonna get some service flow. I'm just gonna click on save here, and that's it. Our flow is ready. I mean, what I'm gonna do is now I'm just gonna click on run, and I'll just try to, or maybe I'll just do debug. So this way we'll see what's happening behind the scene, whether our API is working or not. So I'm just gonna click on run here. I'm just gonna give like account name as hello. I'm just giving like 5 characters here, and I'm just click on next. Let's see what it does. So right now, let me just see. Did we call that? Okay, now if you see right now what happened was we called the API. The API had like this many numbers and the API was called. Let me just take a look at the values here. Where are we storing them? Just trying to take a look. Okay, So right now I haven't assigned the values manually, so I'm just gonna do that. I'm just gonna create one variable maybe values, and let's do the text here. Just click on run here. Hello, I'm gonna give the type as whatever. Okay, if you see here, our API tried to call this, and it said that the missing required parameter. So the account type is required field. So this is what tells me that the API is working. So I just didn't provide the account type. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just click on a run again, and I'm just gonna give some value here. I'm gonna give the account type again. I'm just gonna click on save next here. So that will do the API call, and that's it. The API call was done, and my Salesforce external service has been called. So if you take a look, it was pretty easy. I mean, I literally did the integration to the third-party system. So whenever the account is created in Salesforce, I want that to be created in external service. So that's what we did just now with the help of some clicks. You don't need any code here, because consider like if in the past, if you want to do any integration, it's like you first of all get a developer, then get the API specification, whatever API is there, then write Apex code, then get the responses, handle it. But like here, if you take a look at within few clicks, we literally did the complete integration end to end. And if you want to do right now, we just did add account. If you want to do like update account or whatever API has it, you can literally do it with the help of point and click. So the thing, it all depends on the API. Consider the API supports multiple, you can call multiple. So that's not an issue. So it all depends on what API supports. So depending on the API, you can use that.
So how do we differentiate those APIs?
So, okay, so if you think about APIs, so consider right now we have one Salesforce, right? In Salesforce, we just added an account. So consider like their API supports multiple, right? I mean, you will see that in your API specification. So right now, if you see our API specification here, so I think it's not supporting multiple. If you see accounts, and it is just accepting only one account.
So for example, in a day, if there are new accounts added in the system, like maybe 10 or
Right.
more than one,
Right.
So at that point, the API will be different.
No, actually, so there are multiple things. So I was talking about multiple accounts in one request and multiple accounts in different requests. So consider if you're getting like 500 accounts in a single go.
Yes.
If your API supports that, you can do that. But consider you're creating 500 accounts in like after 1 minute, 5 minutes, or like after an hour. That's fine because API supports that. So
How the system will see if there is any limit, like I know code will check with the cache and
Right.
everything, right?
So are you talking about the call out limits, or are you talking
Yeah,
about
call-out.
So call out limits are for the transaction. So there is no limit as such from Salesforce. The API, the limit will be on the third party side. Consider that their third party system is accepting only 500 callouts a day. So that's their limitation, not from Salesforce. But in Salesforce, there is a limit, like you can do 10 callouts in one transaction. But right now we are just doing one call out, so that's fine. It's not a big deal. So from our side, I would say we are pretty good.
So we are good, we have done the setup everything.
Yes, yeah.
And one quick question.
Sure.
What's the difference between the connected app and this one?
Okay, so connected app is just you're just telling your Salesforce that this is the connected app which I'm going to use it, but there is no integration between them. So that is just the information purposes. You know, so you,
Just to use that credentials
Right.
we provide to the third party.
right. So if you see the connected app doesn't have any authentication of third party system. It only gives you like security token,
Yeah, we have
and
to provide.
yeah, so you need to provide them to third party. So
Okay.
that is, if you see connected app is just for the information purposes, wherein you need to make, if you want to make like secure connection between third party and Salesforce, so that's the way to do it. But here in this case, we are talking about doing the integrate, like calling third party API from Salesforce. And in connected app, we don't give any authentication of third-party system. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Any other question? I know it might. I mean, I know we started in the middle, but yeah.
This is good feature, like that you
Yeah.
don't need any developer
Yeah.
to write the code.
Right.
You just use flows
Right.
and integrate.
Right. I mean, any developer, anyone can do this. I mean, you can.
But
Which
how do we maintain this? Like once we develop it, is there any way that we have to see the considerations, like how often we have to?
so okay. So consider there is an API change, right? Consider like they've changed their APIs. That's it. What you're gonna do? You're just gonna go to your external services. You're just gonna go and update the API.
Oh.
API specification here, and that will be available here. So if
Will
it's
there be any notification that we can set up, like if there
no, so if the API is failed, you're gonna your whole flow will fail. So it will give an error. But usually they won't do that because every API supports the version control. So they will give you like right now you might be using like version 1 or something. And if there is any change, they will tell you, okay, we're gonna give you like version 2, version 3. So all the changes will be in different thing. So in that if that changes, what you're gonna do is you consider like you're just gonna go to the name credentials and you're just gonna append or change the URL here. That's it. Like instead of version 1, you're gonna use version 2. Or and you talked about maintenance, so there is no maintenance as such unless you have a requirement change. Because this is like a standard Salesforce wherein everything should go as it is.
So is there any way that we can control what information we can send,
Yeah. So of course. So if you see here, so this is the API specification. Let me just go to my screen so where you can see. So when I talked about the open API, here you can see right now there is a thing called as parameter. So right now we are just passing this contact name here. I mean account name. So if you want to pass multiple data, you can just copy this and paste it, and you can pass multiple parameters here.
So here the course is contact name.
Yes.
But we use demo for account.
Yeah. So this is in the slide actually. I just use contact, but there we have in the demo we have his account. But you can use it for anything. This is generic.
Just configure.
Yeah, that's right. So you can and if you see here, this is like a human readable. So you can literally see what is the name, what is the type, what is the description. So you can easily see and you can easily do any updates. Also, like if you don't want this description on your screen, right? You can just update it whatever you want. And once you update it, that will be reflected in your flow. You will see that in your flow saying that okay, this is what the description is. So this is the one, and like in order to debug, so it's very easy to debug. If you know how flow works, that's how you're gonna do the debugging here. So right now that's what we did. If you see, I went to the flow and I went to the debug here. That's how I got to know that there are some things missing, right? So if I go here, I'll just show it to you again, like somehow. So this API, once I clicked on next, you can see here all the debug actions. So this is the API error which I've got saying that missing required input parameter. So that's how you can debug, and you can just update your values or flow, or you can make these fields as required in your flow. Then yeah, if you have any other questions, feel free to ask.
We use this external service for any integration like Snap, or
Yeah, so any API that supports Open API, or like if you can get the Open API specification, yes, of course, you can use for anyone. And nowadays, what I've seen is like almost all the standard APIs in all the system, they support Open API specification. If they don't support, there are some online tools which you can use to convert it to Open API. So it's pretty much available and everywhere. So you can literally use it. Yeah, so that's it. And like we had one more, like if you want a presentation in our group discussions, feel free to do that. You're gonna get some gifts, goodies. That's how it is. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, this was our session, and thank you so much for joining. Let me just do that.